Welcome in, welcome back. I'm your host, Jaye, and we are going to be discussing the relevance and importance of routine behavior in an investigation and court proceedings. And we're going to look at the norms in Sebastian Rogers' life that we know of and compare them to the events of February 25th and 26th, beginning with the two lights above the garage that CP stated were always on. If on, why did they not provide some light during the trash can being taken out of the garage to the curb, that footage? Even a little illumination in that dark of night. Because, my friends, those two garage lights were not on, according to Seth Rogers. This is Crime Time Buzz. We are looking at some of the details that surround Sebastian Rogers' home the night before he was reported missing on Monday, February 26th, from his home in Hendersonville, Tennessee. It was reported initially by the Proudfoots that Sebastian had walked out of the house in the night, sometime between 10 p.m. and 6 a.m. This is why the lights that were on outside and what lights are normally on outside is very relevant and important. KP said on Nancy Grace only her garden solar lights were on that night. CP interjected, although not in town, that the two lights above the garage were always on, a routine practice. And a routine practice is a regular course of conduct. Yet Seth Rogers, Sebastian's father, who does not live there, said in the dark footage of the trash being taken out that law enforcement showed him he could not distinguish who was on the footage. Seth Rogers was discussing Sebastian and was asked a very good question, and we receive a very valuable nugget of information, one that can be corroborated with the footage. When asked if the lights above the garage were on like always, and where Sebastian gets the can from the garage and takes it to the curb, why did that light not illuminate Sebastian at all that night? Well, that is because, wait for it, friends, Seth Rogers indicated during that footage the two garage lights were not on above the garage. So the systematic routine of always being on did not occur, and the lights were not on February 25th. And we know Sumner County Sheriff's Office and TBI and the Secret Service, whoever is looking at that footage, can easily establish and have visual proof as deviation from normal routine and behavior. And this is important because deviation from normal routine is not only suspicious, according to Tennessee law in Article 9, it says a break in routine is relevant. And by the way, friends, it's admissible in court. A habit is a regular response to a repeated specific situation. And according to the basic rule, Rule 406, which is habit and routine practice, evidence of the habit of a person or of the routine practice, whether corroborated or not, and regardless of the presence of eyewitnesses, is relevant to prove that the conduct of the person on a particular occasion was in conformity with the habit or routine practice. And that's law. So they're saying what the court of law allows and looks at. So what they're saying here is that break of routine practice and conformity are important in an investigation and admissible in a court of law. To constitute a habit, it's active, it's regular, systematic, and to break that habit or routine, one must provoke thought or intent and purpose to do so. So, corroboration and other extrinsic proof of the alleged habit is not required because Rule 406 specifically notes habit evidence is admissible, whether corroborated or not, regardless of the presence of eyewitnesses. So regular course of conduct is important, does not have to be corroborated. And CP did corroborate the two garage lights are always on, meaning when it does not occur, it is important to note. Important to know why it didn't occur. Do they come out? Do they come on automatically at night? Are they left on 24/7, even during the day? Do those lights need to be turned on each night? We don't know. But what we do know is, according to CP, They are always on, those two lights above the garage. And according to Seth Rogers and the footage he watched of someone taking the trash from the garage to the can, allegedly Sebastian, he could not distinguish who it was in the dark of night. There was no illumination at all, and the lights were not on. And Seth has indicated several times before bringing up the lights that he has not been able to determine for sure that that was Sebastian taking out the trash because it was too dark. So I'm sure, as Sumner County Sheriff's Office, all of the law enforcement has noted those lights were off. They've watched interviews on Nancy Grace, hearing that they were always on, because if it's relevant in court, the practice of routines or the breaking of routines, and it is relevant in the investigation. It's not earth shaking evidence, but legally admissible and probative in court. And they have little pieces, I believe. And hopefully soon they will fit together and be able to locate Sebastian. The observation of those practices, they stand up in court, also the breaking of those routine practices when they're deviated from. And remember, we know they do have enough evidence to prove probable cause a crime was committed because they had to, in order to prove that, in order to be granted that landfill search warrant. So let's look at some other norms we know that are important and being, I'm sure, had been observed, recorded, and those little pieces that law enforcement has. Law enforcement says right in the beginning, and I can pin my video about it on the end of this video, that Sebastian is usually up at night, is active. That is his norm. But on February 25th at night, he went to bed easily at 9 p.m. and there was no sound of him after the thud. So, and we know the timing has changed to about 11:45, but that alludes he was asleep, right? But no, that's not his norm. His norm is that he's up and active. So why are we changing the norm of what he did, or why was what he did not the norm? Sebastian does not go outside barefoot due to the fire ant incident when he was younger. That's his norm, his routine. Yet on February 25th or early 26th, he broke this habit and left, passing by his shoes at the front door allegedly. He wouldn't have broken his habit. If he did, there was some reason. And this is all evidentiary in court. Sebastian Shore is to take the trash out from the garage to the curb on Sunday nights. That's the norm. The irony of this is the norm being stated, he did it, but it can't be proved due to the darkness of light, or the night of darkness and no light, that it was Sebastian. It could have been anyone in that footage, according to Seth Rogers. And now we know those garage lights were not on as normal. The dogs sleep in the bedroom with KP when CP is not home. That is the norm. When he is home, they sleep in the pen. That is the norm. However, on February 25th, we were told CP was not home and he told KP to pen the dogs. Now, why would he tell her that? Why? That's not his norm, because he knows they sleep with her when he is not home. And it is also not KP's norm to pen those dogs when CP is not home. So why on the night of February 25th were things done that were not normal routine in that house on Stafford Court, the very night Sebastian Rogers disappeared? Breaking a habit and a routine is on purpose, with thought, and intentional. All these changing routines and habits on one night. And then it makes me wonder, was Sunday Fun Day a regular routine for a Sunday night, a school night at the Proudfoot house? Seth Rogers said it was not normal for at his house. They got ready for school, went to bed early. So I'm just kind of wondering. And also, another statement KP has always made has resonated with me. It was about her making a special breakfast. Fun fact, I made spaghetti pancakes. It makes it sound like it's different, unusual, special. So why was breakfast routine special that morning? Not routine, not normal. And they called the family so Sebastian could brag because he likes that. What's he bragging about? The special breakfast? Because normally you brag when you're excited about something, something's new, going to happen, different. So why is he bragging if it's routine? Is a 3-hour phone call normal on a Sunday night between CP and KP? Well, KP's trying to study and doze off. And we know LE can easily verify that by going back through their cell phone records, which is part of the investigation, and Secret Service is assisting with that digital investigation. Breaking from the norms and regular routines, because there is usually a reason for a change in routine because it is unusual. It breaks the systematic habit requiring thought and purpose. And by the law of basic rule, it is relevant, so relevant and proving these routines are that they do not need to be corroborated or have eyewitnesses to be admissible in court. So, in my opinion, Sumner County Sheriff's Office, TBI, Secret Service, and FBI have observed these breaks in routines and have included them in their investigation and court evidence if there is ever a trial and justice for Sebastian Rogers. Thank you so much for being here. Be safe and be aware of your surroundings. And if you know anything at all about the location or disappearance of Sebastian Rogers, please call 1-800-TBI-FIND. Thank you and talk soon, friends.